Okay, so today we'll study data hazard. It's kind of hazard in pipeline data path. Okay, and so in the last class we have studied pipelining hazards. Basically, are of three types: structural hazard, data hazard, and control hazard. Structural hazard happens because of if same resource is busy for an instruction and the next instruction also wants to use it. Say, for example, it could be for register file or for memory. Okay, like here, two instructions like load and this instruction, sub instruction, both of them are using register file. However, the register file here, uh, is okay. The register file, if register file allows only one operation, reading or writing, then there could have been hazard. Okay, but we have designed both memory. I mean, we have split the memory as instruction memory and data memory, and register file we have designed in such a way that reading and writing can happen in the same cycle, right? So instruction can write, one instruction can write, other can read. Only thing is that second half of the cycle reading happens and first half writing happens. So however, if that is not there, then this can cause structural hazard. Similarly, had we had one memory, it would have caused structural hazard. And this is the way we have designed your register file to avoid uh, structural hazard. And of course, I mean, when we say we have instruction memory and data memory, actually in practice we have two cache memories, which is instruction cache and data cache. Okay, all right. So basically, in the same cycle or at the same time, both caches can be used for instruction fetching and writing or reading from data cache. Okay, so this is what we have discussed. So today now we'll study data hazard in our type of instructions and also load instructions. Okay, and in the next class we'll study then the last hazard, which is what we say here is control hazard. I mean, like if you are executing an instruction and then there is a branch instruction, you don't know after branch instruction what will be next instruction, because until the conditions are checked, you will not know what's the next instruction. And then if you have fetched the next instruction and if there is a condition is met and you jump to certain location, then all these instructions that were fetched will go waste, right? So we'll study that. There's a control hazard in the next class. Okay, so today let's cover data hazard. Okay, look at this sequence of instructions. Okay, first instruction add, where we are adding contents of T1, T2 and bringing it to T0. Okay, so all right. And second instruction, we are using this modified value of T0, that value, and adding that to T3 and bringing it to T4. And then third instruction, we are doing AND operation, wherein we are taking the same value of T0 and ending it with contents of register T6 and bringing the result to T5. And in the next instruction, this OR instruction, we are using the same value of T0 and then doing OR operation with T6, bringing it to T7. And the last instruction, we are again using the same value of T0 and doing an XOR operation with T10 and then bringing it to T9. All right. So do you see some problem here?
T0 is used before it is updated.
Very right. In what instructions? Everywhere? All instructions? It means that this instruction, of course, you say is in problem. Is this instruction is also problem. Is it getting the wrong value of T0? It's much before this value is available. Is it using, how about this, and how about the last one? See, note that this T0 is a, yeah.
I
Pardon?
think all will have that issue because it is updated in the 5th cycle.
Okay, let's see it. Okay. Actually, we can see that last one is surely not in trouble. Okay, these three are in trouble, and this is also not in trouble if you are using double pumping. They're writing in the first half and reading in the second half. Okay. If we are using double pumping, there is no issue. Okay, so these, otherwise, if we're not using double pumping, then these three are in trouble. So we can see that this is the cycle. Okay, and we can see T0 here in red that we have mentioned. We are using here while results are available there. So results are available in 5th cycle. We are using that in the 2nd cycle. Okay, it means that this will read previous value of T0, wrong value of T0. Similarly, this is in trouble because this will also read previous value of T0. However, this instruction T0, if we are using double pumping, then that is double pumping is when write during the first half and read during the second half. This is called double pumping. If that is so, then this value is, you can see, is available here. So we can read that. So only 2 instructions are in trouble. And this is fine. This is, reading in 6th cycle. So this is okay. This will get correct value. Any doubt?
No, sir.
All right.
So can you please repeat what you said right during the first?
Okay, so what happens in register file? Okay, we'll go back. Okay, when we design register file in such a way, okay, anyway, this does not show. When we design register file in such a way that the particular register, suppose we are writing into a register, this is a write port, the writing into register with some address. Okay, so address is available, write enable signal is also an enable, this enable, and we are writing into that register. Let's assume we are writing into register T1. Okay, and then at the same cycle we are reading this T1 using this value of T1 as an operand. Say for example, we are first instruction we are say telling, like we have used add T1, T2, T3 for example. Okay, and then second instruction we are using sub, for example, T4, T1, T2. So now, can we, okay, so after few instructions, right? So now after few, then we can see in the same cycle, if you are doing this reading of register, then in the same cycle, okay, value of T1 is updated in the first half of maybe this part. Okay, value gets updated, T1 has correct value now, and the second half we can do the reading of that. It means the correct value is read in the same cycle. So how our design is to be such that if you are using double pumping, the writing happens in the first half and reading happens in the second half, not immediately, right? Otherwise, registers from register one can read immediately, right? As we mentioned earlier, reading can be done anytime and writing is in only leading edge. But here the reading is restricted to second half such that data value gets written into register file. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if we design register file in this way, then it's called double pumping. Okay, so this is where we are. So we can now see that these two instructions are in trouble. And because of double pumping, this is fine. So now we need to do something about it. It means that now sub and add, this will calculate wrong results. Your T0 value is incorrect. So first solution is that do installing. Now installing can be done in software way or hardware way. Okay. It means the delay, put some kind of delay in the pipeline, right? Or do nothing such that results become available. Okay, so suppose we are doing these two operations, T0, T1, T2 and T4, T0, T3. Obviously, the value of T0 is not updated into register file on register T0 before it's being read. Okay, so now what we can do is that this is a previous example, in fact. So what we can do is that we can put two bubbles, two cycles of bubbles. Bubbles means they do nothing. It's like, doing nothing, right? So effectively, it's like running an instruction like add x0, x0, x0. Okay, now we give this kind of delay, or basically for two cycles, run either this kind of instruction or do nothing. Then after two cycles run, this, this instruction start execution. Okay, it means that now you can see instruction fetch stage is in first, second, third, fourth cycle. Okay. All right. Now what happens is that when the results are available now here in the first half, and then of course you can read it in correct value of T0 for this instruction. Of course, this will also require double pumping. Okay, in case you don't want double pumping, you can put one more, NOP operation or bubble. Okay, so if double pumping is not allowed, then you put this one. Then of course, it's further shifted by one cycle. Okay, only catch here is that who will insert NOP? Okay, this is NOP, not NOT. Insert NOP at the compile time. Who will insert NOP at the compile time? Who will know about this sequence?
Compiler.
Only compiler can do that, right? So now when we discussed the ISA and microarchitecture, we said that microarchitecture design should not be known, right? Except in an instruction set. But now here we are relaxing this condition that compiler designer should know the pipeline, pipeline design and pipeline depth and all that, such that right number of NOPs it can insert. All right, note this point. Okay, all right. Now inserting NOP is software way, as we discussed earlier, and basically it complicates programming. Essentially, see, NOP can also be inserted by programmer, but higher level language is very difficult to know all this, right? I mean, how can you insert that? Okay, when compiler, basically it means that if you are writing a program, it's very difficult for you to know that what kind of instruction is getting converted and inserting NOP, or NOP, how you can insert NOP, maybe some higher level instruction which does nothing or something of sort, right? Of course, this can be done by assembly language programmer, because we'll know, and of course, assembly language programmer needs to know about pipeline design. All right, so overall, it causes complexity. Okay, and of course, when you do nothing in the pipeline, okay, for two cycles, it reduces performance. All right, is it clear? Is it, are you able to understand the concept? All right, assuming that you understood, let's move ahead. So another solution.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if we try to run these code in our RISC-V compiler, then I think these code are running there. They are not showing any data hazard or those things. So are we assuming that these knob will be added by those assemblers?
So compiler should know, no? Compiler knows what sequence of assembly language instruction it's converting to, right? See, machine level instruction and assembly language instruction, there is a one-to-one mapping. You are just converting assembly language, which is simple to read because in textual form is a readable form, into zeros and ones, right? Otherwise, both are the same. So what the compiler will know what are the sequence of instructions using, okay, converting each higher level language. So it's a right place to insert that. Of course, this can also be done by assembler, but this will introduce additional complexity even in the assembler because it has to now have to logic to find out, there is a data dependency and install and all that, right? So that intelligence can be easily done at higher level language, HLL level or compiler level.
So sir, it means that means in the RISC-V compiler, in the RISC-V simulator, if we try to run these code, then I think it should be show the data hazard or those things.
Yeah, try it. It's good, very good point. Please try doing it and see how it's resolving it.
Okay, sir.
See, if as simple as that. I mean, see, it's an emulator that you are using. Okay, if they have considered this fact, okay, data dependency or data hazard, then of course they would have provided solution for that. Otherwise, not. It's very good point. I mean, try running a program that we have written just now and see you are getting right result. First, you assign something to, manually you can calculate the value of T0 and then see the result displayed is also same or not. Then you can see simulator has taken care of these issues. All right. Very good point. Thank you. Okay. So solution for that is that now this is hardware solution. Okay. See, when we see that result T0 result is available in T0 in fifth cycle, that's here, assuming this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth cycle, and then of course this 6, 7, 8, 9th cycle. Okay, so result is available here in the fifth cycle. Okay, because you are storing the value T0 into register here. Fourth cycle, you are doing nothing in this instruction, right? So now one thing is that, and where is this needed? T0 is needed here as a first operand here, right? In this instruction, actually is going into ALU. So the question is that why not move this value into ALU directly? So I can re-show this. Okay, so we can move this value to T0 here directly. So you create a forwarding path in the pipeline which will forward the value much earlier into, so if this condition is met, okay, then it can forward it. So what actually in ALU, what you will see is that output is going to itself, right? I mean, the output is going to itself. I mean, what the output of ALU is going to input of ALU. It's the same ALU, right? Okay, similarly, we can do it for AND operation. Here again, the value of T0, this value, same value of T0 can come here, that's shown here. Okay, and same for third one, if double pumping is not used, right? Then we can actually move the value here. All right. So forwarding is nothing but to grab the operand from the pipeline stage rather than the register file. So now you have extra hardware, and this extra hardware is to be used intelligently. So some control operation or some control signal must be generated to allow this kind of forwarding. And of course, this control signal will be generated based on some kind of analysis, and that should also be done in hardware. Okay. So forwarding is nothing but bypassing. So this is the way it is done. It's the same thing. Explained what we have discussed, that don't wait for it to be stored into register. Okay, and then before that you just move the value like we have shown here. but it requires extra hardware and extra control. Okay. All right. And then what we can do in order to find this out is that compare the source operand register with the destination register of previous instruction. So some number of instructions, say 4 or 5 instructions. How many instructions, right? I mean, like 4 is for the, if double pumping use only for 2 instructions, you'll have to check this, whether the source of next instruction is getting value from first instruction, that's the destination register of the first instruction. If they are same, then you enable these signals and enable data forwarding. All right. So its algorithm is simple. I'll compare the destination of older instruction in the pipeline with the sources of new instruction in decode stage. All right. So now this is all available. All these things are available. You know, these values are available, right? And then they can be compared in somewhere, which is basically in control logic, forwarding control logic. Yeah, again, you can put this as a part of overall control logic thing, right? So this is called forwarding control logic. And okay, and then you can create some paths. For example, you can see the path like here from ALU, output goes to, of course, buffer. And from there, you take this and bring it back to ALU. All right. So, and then you have to use this control signal to control this. It means that if forwarding is used, then this input has to be taken in through multiplexer to ALU. Okay. And similarly, we can design for remaining. You know, for example, in case of memory, we can see that something, you know, it has to come here, something like this. Okay. So this control logic is extra. And these, whatever red lines we have shown here are the extra, right? And of course, the design here is very simplistic design, does not consider all possibilities, but this is very simple design for, you know, to handle data hazard and using forwarding. Now, the question I'm asking is that, is forwarding possible always? All scenarios can be solved with forwarding? No. I mean, what we have seen is only R type of instructions, right? So R type of instructions, yes, we can do use forwarding. Now, if we have different kind of instructions, say load instructions, right? Then we will have to see what can be done. So here is data hazard due to load operations. So here data flow backwards in time. You know, it's like this. I mean, okay. All right. So it's something like this. We have instruction like load word T0 and get it from some memory location. So T0, it's available. We're writing into register T0 in the 5th cycle. Okay, and now we are using subtract T3, T0, T2. So now in 2nd cycle we are using this. Okay, now what we need to do? No, it's available. See, it's not earlier. In earlier case, result was available here, right? Previous case that we have seen. So we could do forwarding. Now data movement is backwards, right? The data is available here. You know, I mean, data memory, when you read it from data memory, only then result is available, right? So we cannot do forwarding in this case. Okay, the only solution here, the solution here is the stalling. Put some kind of bubble in between. And now what we can do, I mean, there are two ways. Of course, we can use software installing, wherein we can put NOPs. Okay, and second one is hardware installing. Okay, it's called hardware lock, where you lock the pipeline. Okay, actually it's same as doing nothing, but in that particular stage we do nothing. Okay, so for example, here if you install the pipeline, the results are still available here of whatever register read has happened. Okay, but you do nothing after that, and then eventually you will get correct result here. Okay, all right, and then you read it from here. All right, so as a result of this, you have correct results available, but this is actually holding up the pipeline or stalling the pipeline using hardware interlock. You are creating delays. Okay, similarly for next section here and instruction here. So it's very similar to NOP. However, what we are doing here is that using some hardware mechanism such that data does not flow to next stage. All right, all right. So this is one example, same example here. Okay, installing the sub instruction after decoding operation before register read. Okay, so in hardware at decode stage we can install. So earlier we said that data is read and data can be written back. However, you can have a better design wherein after decoding itself, you can install such that it does not flow into register. Okay, so instruction add, okay, should remain in the fetch stage during both cycles. All right, so here it will remain in instruction fetch stage here and here. All right, and of course we are using double pumping, even with putting bubble. Sorry, yeah, we are using actually not forwarding. It's in the same cycle, right? So it's using. Oh, of course, here we are using forwarding, and then this is double pumping. Is it fine?
But in this case, our frequency of operations will change.
How is it changing?
Sir, because the maximum time period will be for this ALU block, ALU plus bubble, and all the blocks will.
Sequence of instruction will remain the same. Okay, this instruction will be executed first, this second, this third, and fourth. Only thing is you are blocking the results at IF stage, right? Before it goes into register. So actually, this is actually as soon as this is shown as single stage, it actually consists of instruction fetch, instruction decode, and register read, right? So if you can block it, of course instruction decode has to be there, right? If you just block it right there, okay, then this is possible. But actually you're not reading the register, right? You're blocking the reading of register, and that design is possible in hardware. However, everything results are the results instruction execution sequence will be the same.
But for each stage, we'll have to have a same period of clock cycle, right? So
yeah, clock cycle anyway is the same, no? We are not changing the clock cycle. Clock is the same. Only thing is that we are doing something in extra in hardware. Again, you need extra hardware for that. For blocking of result flow. Say, for example, even the existing control signals you can use such that output of register, you are just doing reading rather than writing. Okay, some extra control signals may also be generated for this. So you need some extra special hardware for this. But apart from rest of things will remain same. Only thing is that, like people are moving in a queue in a food counter in your hostel mess, and then you see that there is something happens, and two students start arguing on something, and then somebody says, okay, hold on, and then rest of the queue moves, but if you are the person who has been asked to hold on, you stop there. Okay, so it's similarly here, hardware forces certain pipeline stages to hold on in that state, okay, so that no movement happens, and then people ahead or the instruction ahead completes this task, and then results are correct. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Think through this, you will get the answer. All right. And then very simple way is that another solution is that, why not rearrange instructions such that this, if there are instructions which are not dependent, see, suppose first function, as we said here, uses writing T0, second instruction is reading this value. Okay, in between one solution we thought was put NOPs, right? Instead of NOP, if there are some instructions here, for example, had this instruction will be T6, for example, this would have been T7. Then we see that value of none of them are using value of either T3 or T0. Then why not move these two instructions here? Okay, this modified two instructions like T6 and T7 with these two instructions here in between. Now you can see all the trouble is over. Okay, so move independent useful instruction forward where stall is happening between those instructions. And if there are instructions that are not data dependent on the current instruction, these can be moved up. As we said here, right, these two are not data dependent on either this instruction or the second instruction, then AND and OR operation can always move up. And this will ensure there is no stalls. Okay. So you can do this calculation, how many instructions to install. You can do some kind of dependency checking, and then you can move certain number of instructions, right? Okay, if so for example here, if you insert only one instruction, then it may not solve the problem. Okay, so all these calculations can be done. Okay, all right. So now let's take up one simple example. This is one example. Okay, so now in this example you see some dependency here, right? So you are loading word into T1. Now this is available in the 5th cycle, and then you are reading the value of T1 in what? Maybe 3rd cycle. Okay, so this will give you wrong results, and you can see there are some instructions at the bottom which are independent of these, right? Say for example here you can see T4, this instruction, see T0 is only a source operand, right? Its value is not changing, so you can, of course this is then independent. Okay, can we use this? All right, so we can see there's a dependency, you need to put a stall here, and there may be one more dependency here, T4 and this one. So we need to put one more. It means that it will also stall the pipeline. Now we need to rearrange this in a smart way. So this is going to take 13 cycles. What we can do is that these two are the same. Now you bring third load from here, okay, to this place. It means that this instruction moves here upwards, right? So it actually goes here, in fact, the same thing. And then add SW, add NS. So this way, would this resolve the issue? You work this out, right? So it's basically what's happening is that now you have, okay, T2 available here, and then you are using here in this instruction. Similarly, T4 is becoming available, you are using it here, and then it's going to take 11 cycles. Okay, now you need to, you work this out by yourself, right? But this will also require some kind of forwarding, especially in this instruction, right? You can work this out, right? I mean, T2 is available in the 5th stage, and then after you need, okay, then one instruction is there, and then of course this T2 we are reading. So you can work this out, and you'll see that yesterday I worked this out. I don't want to draw the picture all over again, but we'll see that we'll use forwarding. Okay, so it means that by rearranging instructions, we can manage this. Okay. If you want, I can work this out example. It's not, it's very trivial.
So that store word will need the T3, right, from add.
Pardon?
The store word will need T3 from add instruction, right? In the alternative.
T3 from add instruction, right? No, here, right? Here, this T3 is the destination operand, right? Okay, here is also destination operand. And then after this, T3 is not being used anywhere. So T3 is independent, right? There's no dependency. All right. Okay. Any, yeah? Any doubt? Please work this out by yourself and create 5-stage pipeline, and then see when the results in T1 or T2 are available, and which is being used for add instruction. And now this is source operand, right? So this has to be correct. So this getting value from here. So now what, you just check whether this value that you are getting is correct or not. If you, and whether you need forwarding or not. So work this out by yourself. It's very simple exercise. All right. And note that this kind of questions I can ask you in the exam, because it requires little thinking. All right. So how to resolve this? Okay, just a minute. Wow. There's some duplication or what? Okay. All right. Okay, sorry, there is some 2 slides are duplicated. And this, you can see, this is the stalling hardware. Of course, I have taken it from Harris and Harris book. Okay, and we can see there are some additional instructions, additional control lines, and you can easily figure them out, right? Something that they have mentioned through blue color, like here, if you extend it flush, something here, and so on, right? So using this, stalling can be done. All right. So we'll not go into details, otherwise it will take at least 40-50 minutes to discuss all these hardware details. So we are actually only at the conceptual level, and we want to move forward, right? So these two cases, this is again from Harris and Harris book, and the version of the book that's available to you will have they are using MIPS. but concepts are the same. And then I have access to some of their resources, wherein they actually slide sets are available online also. So where you can get this diagram, this picture. So basically, this is how we are, stalling operation is used. Okay, here, what happens is that, data movement is backward, so you can't do much excepting for installing the hardware. Okay, and then you need extra hardware as we discussed for installing the hardware, like the one here. Okay, so please read it by yourself, these two slides. Okay, now very simple question. Just a minute. Okay, read this as a T1 because this is actually a MIPS, in MIPS we show register as a $sign and then T1, while in RISC we simply show this as a T, we don't use $sign in assembly language, right? So anyway, so sequence of instructions there is add I, T0, take the contents of T0, add 1, constant 1, and then move this to T1. Similarly, T0 plus 2, move it to T2, then T0 plus 2, move it to T3, T0 plus 4, move it to T3, and the last one, which is T1 5, and move it to T1. Okay, so you have to choose one of the statement. Okay, and where you can, okay. Can you see that there is a stall or no stall?
No stall.
There's no stall anywhere?
Sir, is it the same number of stages, like 5-stage pipeline?
Yeah, it's a 5-stage pipeline. Actually, MIPS also has 5-stage pipeline, exactly similar. Because, source of MIPS, RISC and ARM, all three from same place. Yeah, so there is, answer is that no stall. Let's look at this example then. So you have to choose one of the three. Can you see there is a stall? So what do you see here? T1 is being used here. So which of this? It means that there is a stall. So this is wrong. One of these two is correct. Can you do this? Can you move the data with forwarding? Answer is yes. So you should be able to. There is no stall with forwarding. Look at this example. The T0 is available in 5th cycle, and you are using 2.0 in the 2nd cycle, right? Okay, and also note we are using load. So the answer is yes, you must stall because data movement is backwards. You can't forward the result. Okay, you have to put bubbles or NOP or hardware stalls. Okay, so that's all for today. So what we have seen is that hazards cause complications because pipeline, when we create pipeline, is not as simple as food buffet that every person is going to take same time and server is going to take same time and so on. Okay, here there can be some problems because of some resources are being used by multiple instructions in the same cycle, and that causes structural hazard. Okay, and then we have resolved this problem in case of RISC architecture by having instruction memory and data memory, which is nothing but instruction cache and data cache in actual design. and then intelligently designing register file such that writing and reading can be done in the same cycle. Okay, so structured hazard is solved beautifully in this architecture. Then data hazard happens because of data dependencies between instruction. If data that we are needing in the next instruction or following instruction is not available yet, the correct data is not available yet because of operations in any of the previous instruction, then if you keep running pipeline as it is, then what dependent instruction will do is have a wrong result, right? So wrong result, in order to avoid that, we need to solve this problem, and we can solve this problem in multiple ways. Simplest way is that insert NOP, that can be done by compiler or programmer at assembly language programmer. That's the simplest way. Second solution is to do forwarding if sequence of instruction permits forwarding. Okay, and we have seen in our type of instruction, forwarding is simple because reason is the results are available only after ALU operation and then can be forwarded to the ALU, same ALU in the next cycle. So it's simple, but the forwarding is not possible in case of load word or store word kind of operations, because results are available only after memory read, and the results are needed backwards in cycle, right? And hence, only way to solve this problem is to install the pipeline. Now, again, we can use NOP or we can use hardware install. So if we do hardware install, then we need, first thing we need to look at these instructions and see the data dependency between them and do some calculations and then generate control signals, which will stall the pipeline or certain stages in the pipeline. And then this intelligence has to be there in the control logic. Okay, so the control logic needs to be designed for forwarding, and also we need extra hardware for in order to do this operation. All right, and then of course, simpler way of doing all this is that when compiler is generating a sequence of assembly language instruction, it can see that there is a stall. And then if there are some data independent instructions are there, then it can move those instructions forward to overcome this issue or data dependency issue.